I guess the biggest lesson I learned or skill that I learned was simply just being flexible. Um,
What's up, y'all? Welcome to Tea Time with Letitia on Gratified Grad, where it's my goal to help you graduate with gratification. Today's tea is a mix and herbal blend. You can't really see the tea in here, but I do want to show you my cup. It's a Penn State Library's mug. I got it for free. Free things are always nice. But it is a blend of ginkgo biloba and peppermint. I love peppermint, anything, and I've had ginkgo by itself, and it doesn't taste that good to me, so I decided to add a little peppermint to it, and it tastes so much better. The ginkgo is known for its ability to improve memory and concentration. And now I'm going to let today's guest introduce herself.
all right. My name is TaNaya Dunning. I am from Mobile, Alabama, and I currently live there. Yeah, I like a simple green tea with honey, hot green tea. I started drinking it, I want to say probably my junior year in college. It was the year that I was able to get a room by myself. I didn't do well with the roommate. I needed my own space, and I was able to get it my junior year. And so I started drinking tea, bought a kettle, little electric kettle and everything. And I would drink it in the morning, especially at night while I was studying, because social work, especially in undergrad, it was really rigorous. And the tea was kind of comforting. It helps you to focus, and it's definitely good for your digestive system as well, which is the number one reason I started drinking it. Because in college we do not eat the best. I didn't. I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but my diet was definitely, I wasn't worried about it in school. So yeah, that's one of my favorite go-to teas, just a simple green tea and honey. Yeah.
Okay. So,
I work at a outpatient mental health clinic here in Mobile. I work with adults ages 19 and up, providing individual therapy to them. And so they are diagnosed with, mental disorders and things like that. But there's also some case management that kind of goes into that, meaning they might call me because, I don't know, they housing situation might have failed, or they need a job, or just some kind of stressor is happening. I am a 2016 grad of Tuskegee University, and also
yes,
a
to
20.
the HBCU.
And then I went to another HBCU, and I'm a 2017 graduate of Alabama A&M University in Huntsville. And both my majors were social work, with a concentration in community mental health. And now I am a state board licensed social worker in Alabama at the master's level. So, thank
Congratulations.
you. Thank
What
you.
high school did you go to?
Murphy, the good old SS Murphy High School here in Mobile. Yeah.
Yes, go Panthers.
Yeah, yeah.
So you have a couple of letters behind your name. And when I saw you put the letters in your title, I was like, what do those letters mean?
Yeah. So I have my master's in social work. So if you see people who have, it just says MSW, that means they're masters in social work. When you see the L in front of it, you might see like LMSW or a LICSW or something like that. That means they are licensed to practice social work, because technically in the social work field, you're not considered a social worker until you're licensed. I know it's that way in Alabama. So you can have all the education, but until you get the license, that is when you can truly call yourself a social worker. So that's what those letters mean. I'm a licensed master's level social worker. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's good to know. All I know of is like my basic PhD and the MD, and that's because I had to learn the difference between the two.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm actually working on there's another step up from that, the LICSW, which is a licensed independent clinical social worker. So that means I can work independently, be my own boss, have my own practice if I wanted to. So I am almost a year in getting that, and then I'll be done with all of that. So
The years and years of education.
yeah, education never ends after you graduate. Never does.
Oh no, it does not. Being flexible is so important. I talk about having a routine with a couple of different people on like this platform,
Hmm.
but no one has talked about flexibility so far. And I think that having a structure and routine is important, but I've also come to realize, and especially now, right, with the pandemic and everything else, flexibility is key.
Hmm.
I can plan out my day and think that, this is what I want to do tomorrow and the things that I want to accomplish. And there's some days where I will wake up and I have a headache and I just have to take it easy. And I just have to be like, okay, you know what, we're going to attempt to do these things, but I might not get every single task on my list done.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that I have the opportunity to pick and choose what days I can be super productive versus not super productive. But giving myself that flexibility is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree. I think I know for me, going into college, um, neither one of my parents graduated from college, right? My mom, I think she went for like a year. My dad, he went into the military. So this is all I had. I don't have no, side hustle, whatever. This was my education is what I had, and so I went in thinking, okay, you think I'm going to set this schedule, this routine, and it's going to go this way. And that is not how college goes when it comes to coursework. And I especially learned that when I got into my internship, especially my senior year. I had to learn a lot of flexibility in that internship. I was at a VA hospital with a social worker there, and we would plan our whole day. And we would get a phone call, and that day would go totally different. And or it's an emergency, they're in a crisis. And so I might have my whole day planned, my to do list, but I got to prioritize my patients if they call me with a crisis. All that other stuff will have to wait. So just being flexible, understanding that your day is not going to go the way you plan, your week is not going to go the way you plan. I was used to it being that way before I got into college. Yeah. This pandemic has just flipped everything. Even with all the flexibility I'm open to, I still had to be even more flexible. And not even just at work, but at home, because at work we switched completely to like telehealth for like a few months, meaning we would provide services via Zoom or on the phone. We didn't have nobody coming into the office for services. So my phone was constantly ringing. I'm constantly on the phone. I'm not a big person to talk on the phone anyway, so that was really draining. I actually get more energized when I'm with my patients face to face. So that was a lot to deal with, and just having to learn how to screen those calls and see what, and then go back and prioritize, just really having to switch up the workflow and what I would do to get through my day. So yeah, flexibility and the pandemic, they definitely go hand in hand. I commend anybody that's in college right now during this pandemic. When I meet or talk to somebody that is, I just tell them it's okay. I know it's hard. I can only imagine, but I empathize with you. I couldn't have done it. I don't think I could have done it because it's not for everybody, doing the online learning and stuff. So even with my patients who are parents of kids who are doing the virtual learning, that's a lot of their stressors now is they're at home and the kids are there all day. And so we talk through that, just how they are managing, in a sense, being like a homeschool teacher. And they like, I didn't sign up to do that. So I think everybody has had to learn a little bit of flexibility during this time, hopefully.
Yeah, I'm curious. At this point, like we've been going through this quarantining and pandemic, what, 9, 10 months now?
Mhm.
And it's required being more flexible, as you were saying. So, how has or what has your process been like going through being flexible and then adapting to be more flexible?
Yeah. I think, how can I put this? Being flexible, it kind of keeps your disappointment down. Because let's be real, this time is it's disappointing. If anything, you realize you took for granted the time before the pandemic and how things were. And for an example, I used to complain sometimes, like when people were just coming into the clinic for services, needed stuff. And then it got to where I didn't have none. And I was like, I kind of miss people coming in, like you kind of bite some of your words, but being flexible, I think also it's about being more understanding of each other and that we're all going through this and just to, things happen. Life happens and we forget that sometimes, like we cannot be fully in control of everything at every moment. We can't, and that's a hard pill to swallow. It
It
is.
is.
I talk to my patients about that, but I have to tell myself the things I tell my patients, you can't control everything. Don't worry about the things you can't control, only the things you can. And that changes from day to day. But for me, I think the flexibility just kind of keeps me content or at a middle ground to not have, I'm not saying don't have any expectations or don't have that hopefulness about things getting better, but it's like you really don't know what's going to happen from day to day. So just be ready for it all, just roll with it. You got like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
say,
I think
just roll with the punches. Like, that's all we can do. Yeah.
for me, the key takeaway is being flexible also means being understanding and being able to prioritize, as you were also saying too, right? You get something that comes up that needs to be handled in that moment. Being flexible allows you to say, okay, I need to push this back on my list and I need to be understanding and flexible and do this now because it requires my time right now.
Absolutely.
Would you say that, so I don't know much about social work at all. Actually, I don't really know anything about social work at all outside of in
Yeah.
today's talk about how, they say police officers should be more trained and, they use social workers as an example to say that social workers go into really dangerous situations sometimes and they are not armed at all.
Yeah.
So I guess, like, do you focus on a specific, I know you focus on a specific age group because you just said 19 to some age adults,
Mm-hmm.
but is there like, I don't know, depressed individuals or I don't know, low income individuals?
So the reason I chose social work, number one, I learned that it's a broad field. Okay, so of course, the first thing we think of is DHR, or Child Protective Services. They come in and take children from environments or parents or people who are, abusive, neglect them, things like that. But social work is so much more than that. It is that, there are workers that do that. Um, More power to them. That was not for me, and it's not for everybody, but there's more to it. And really now, since I completed undergrad, the scope or the outlook on the social work field has changed a whole lot. I thought that was what I was going to mostly be doing, like case management. You have your caseload, things like that. But then now they need us to provide mental health services because depression, anxiety, the suicide rates and things like that, they are skyrocketing, right? And so they need more clinicians to provide those services. And social workers, we're trained in that. And we sometimes, when you see us doing therapy, you see social workers doing therapy, it's like, you think of us somebody who majored in psychology doing it instead, right? But we get trained in all of that, or not just so trained, but get the education. I took sociology, I took psychology, so we learn those different theories and ways of providing therapy or treating these things, but you can do it as a social worker too. So really, I can do a little bit of everything. And social work is really just, it's not just low income individuals, not necessarily. The majority are. You got low income. I have patients who are homeless. I have patients who are working, doing fine. They can function with their mental health issues, but they are treated by medication. They do their sessions with me at least once a month. Some people I see every 2 weeks. Uh, it just kind of depends on where they're at. So, yeah, social work is really broad, but it's really about just helping people reach a place of stability and functioning that they maybe can't get to on their own. Some people just don't have that support from people, and their
Mhm.
friends, or they just don't know where to go, and their functioning is falling off, and so a social worker kind of helps to guide them. We don't tell our clients and patients what to do. We just say, these are your options. What do you want to pick from? And basically support them on that journey and making sure they're just being healthy and safe while doing it. Yeah, and social workers, we have different titles. Like my title at my job, I'm a therapist, but I'm a social worker still. That's my background. So you might find a social worker at the hospital. You'll find one at Catholic Social Services, at the food stamp office. Sometimes they're social workers, they're just everywhere.
Do you have any final thoughts or tips on being flexible as a student?
Um, I think it's important to have at least one person that you can talk to. Because yeah, I preach flexibility and I believe in it, but it gets frustrating. I'm not gonna sit here and act like it doesn't. And my husband and my mom, they're my two main support people, like best friends. Okay, like I know a lot of people can't say that, but I'm thankful that I have them, and I talk to them a few times a day. Sometimes, my mom especially, she has always kept me on my toes. Building your business is so important as a student, especially, going off to school. It's just you there, if you're far away where nobody can come to your rescue and handle your business for you. I carry that even today. You got to stay on top of yourself and your stuff, and you have to let people know what are your goals and what you're trying to do so they can hold you accountable. So my husband and my mom, they hold me accountable. They were so excited that I was doing this. They were like, yes, you need to share your knowledge, share your experience, because I have people who inbox me all the time about, what did you do about this, whether they're in social work or not, just about college and getting through it. But it took having a good support system and remembering those things that, my parents instilled in me to get me through those 5 straight years of school, because to be honest, they're the reason I got my master's as quick as I did. I wanted to take a break, but they were like, no, come on, go get it done. It's 1 year, go do it, So have your support system, have people to hold you accountable, and handle your business. Stay on top of it. It's nothing you shouldn't know about your coursework, financial aid, stuff like that. Be on it. If I could leave y'all with anything, it would be that. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom
You're welcome.
and gracing this space. I will also like to say that the accountability and the support system, those two things have been a common mention so far with the people that I've talked to. They're not, I mean, in theory, they're not hard,
Mhm.
but if you figure out what those things mean to you, you can do this educational journey and do the things that you want to do in life.
It's a little harder for us as Black and brown folks. We, it's a little different for us. Sometimes we don't have those examples of that.
That's a big one.
And then
That's a
we get
big
to the
one.
pool and we're just like fish out of water. Don't know where to start, what to do. We just some of us just was trying to get away from home and go do something better for ourselves. But there are things you gotta stay on top of to get through it, or it will hold you back. It will hinder you.